Okay, this morning you have the Lori and Lori show. Switching places, grant us much grace. Okay. If you don't know anything about what Lori is reading today, it is going to be such a great joy to share that word amongst you. So, the one announcement I do have this morning is Joe Burnham said, and Don't Forget to Feed Me says, thank you to all who gave to Don't Forget to Feed Me. You are appreciated more than you know. Anyone who can, if you can help, even $1 helps a lot. Thanks so much from Joe and from Don't Forget to Feed Me. So, good morning and welcome to All People's Church, Unitarian, Universalist. My name is Lori King Nelson, and I am your co-celebrant this morning. Our Sunday service is a shared time of worship for all present as we gather for music, spoken word, a time of reflection, and inspiration as a religious community. Let us come together in a spirit of compassion and respect for ourselves and others attending this service. We especially welcome those who are visiting today. If you have not done so, please sign in at the visitors table by the front door where you can be placed on our mailing list to receive weekly emails and the monthly newsletter. I jumped the gun with the announcements, so we all already heard Joe's message. Our final announcement is to welcome Lori McKitka, who is in the pulpit this morning. In addition to celebration of Black History Month and in recognition of the UUA February theme of justice and equality, justice and equity, we have a special musical opening this morning by our choir director, Josh Jordan.
Wow, thank you. That was gorgeous. Thank you. Our opening words are from John M. Higgins. Welcome to this place. This is a home where no revealed truths are promoted and no scripture or human being is accepted as infallible. This is a place for searching for truth. But we are believers. We believe in intellectual freedom. We believe in justice. We believe in compassion and concern for each other and the whole world. We believe in commitment to those ideals which make us caring and active in struggles for human dignity. We are Unitarian Universalists.
We now invite you to rise in body or spirit for the chalice lighting, opening hymn, and spoken affirmation. Our chalice lighting words today are from the Reverend Jamie Yondell. We light this flame to ignite the sacred power of justice. We light this flame so that it may be a beacon of hope in moments of uncertainty, fear, anxiety, and the unknown. We light this flame and are emboldened by its blaze, knowing our strength as a prophetic and powerful people is rooted in the diverse ways we answer the call to love. Will you join us in the opening hymn, number 348, Guide My Feet? Join together in our affirmation. Love is the doctrine of this church.
The quest for truth is our sacrament, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve others in community, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with creation. Thus we come.
The young and young at heart are now invited to come forward for our time for all ages. Sarah is always the youngest at heart. So I had a different message prepared this morning, and then someone included this one, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to save the message I had prepared for next week because this one speaks to that message. So we've all heard the golden rule, which goes, do unto others as you would have others do unto you. And that's, in other words, to treat people in business and in life the way you yourself would want to be treated. So Dave Kirpin authored a book called The Art of People, and he says that following the golden rule is all wrong. He said instead we should follow what he calls the platinum rule. He says we all grow up learning about the simplicity and power of the golden rule. Do unto others as you would want done to you. It's a splendid concept, except for one thing. Everyone is different. And the truth is that in many cases, what you'd want done to you is different from what your partner or employee or a customer or wife or child would want done to him or her. He came up with the platinum rule and said, do unto others as they would want done to them. The golden rule, as great as it is, has its limitations since all people and situations are different. When you follow the platinum rule, however, you can be sure you're actually doing what the other person wants done and assure yourself of a better outcome. In his book, he tells a story. Personally, I am very fond of strawberries and cream, but I have found, for some strange reason, fish prefer worms. So when I went fishing, I didn't think about what I wanted. I thought about what they wanted. I didn't bait the hook with strawberries and cream. Rather, I dangled a worm or grasshopper in front of the fish and said, wouldn't you like to have that? Kirpin asks, why not use the same common sense when you're fishing for people? It's a strong thought for the week.
That the other thing, and you'll have to repeat this, the other thing about the platinum rule is that you actually have a conversation or a relationship, you can't guess what the other person is.
Exactly. Sarah is saying that the thing with the platinum rule is you actually have to have a conversation with them so that you can find out what they want, because you can't just guess. So thank you so much for that. Yeah. All right. Now let's sing Sarah out. Offering. We give to remind ourselves how many gifts we have to offer. We give to remember that we are part of something bigger than ourselves. We give because we believe in music and sacred space. We give with the faith that together we have enough. Each Sunday, we take half of the non-dedicated offering that is received and share it with a local organization whose values and goals reflect our own. This quarter, we are supporting the Native Prairies Association of Texas, a nonprofit land trust dedicated to the conservation, restoration, and appreciation of native prairies, savannas, and other grasslands in Texas. The offering, which we take every Sunday, is an opportunity to dedicate ourselves to the journey we are making together, with the vision of a world made whole. The Native Prairies Association of Texas fits right into this vision and will be our Share the Plate partner through the end of March. The gifts of the congregation will be most gratefully received. Will the ushers and the choir please come forward?
Our two songs this morning speak to justice and equality, which is the theme for our month. The second song, Let Justice Roll, speaks about Lady Justice, enthroned upon the mighty truth within the confines of the law. True justice seeth not the man, but only hears his cause. Unconscious of the creed or race, she cannot see, but only weighs. For justice with unbandaged eyes would be oppression in disguise. And the first song, Hymn of Freedom, is a question and answer song. And the question is, when will we be free? The answer? When every heart joins every heart, and together yearns for liberty. That's when we'll be free. Our two soloists this morning, Joshua Jordan and Della Purdy.
Joins every
thank you so much, choir. Yeah, for a month dedicated to the theme of justice and equity, puts us right where we need to be in our hearts. Thank you. At this time in our service, we pause to give time and attention to the things in our community that are important to us. We gather here for healing and for peace in our hearts, and to acknowledge the shared stories and news from the congregation. Each week there is a journal outside the entrance to the sanctuary where you can write a message of memory or hope before the service. We honor these messages by lighting 3 candles here next to our chalice. Also, at any time during our service, you are welcome to come forward and light a candle in our meditation center here to the side of the chancel. Today, from our book of memory and hope, we include Sherry Husband has had surgery for her hip fracture and is now in rehab. She wants our continued thoughts and prayers as she works toward being able to go home. Hello from Sherry to all of her church family. Sherry sent a thank you note, a thank you card that's in the foyer. I brought it up here, so in case you did not see it, to All People's Church, thank you for the card and prayers. Tell Julie Hevelon thank you for the prayers and the card. Sherry. Let us open our minds and hearts to the place of quiet, to the silent prayer for the healing of pain, and the soft, gentle coming of love. Our meditation words come from Reverend Rebecca Savage. Spirit of life, eternal mystery that holds us close, receive the meditations of our hearts this day. We come together in this quiet moment to unify our hearts again towards the clarion call of our time. May justice and equity guide us to greater connection, a greater truth. Please settle yourself for the musical interlude.
Thank you, Misha. It's actually one of my favorite times of the week to listen to your meditation music. America doesn't need more God, it needs more atheists. This essay was adapted from We of Little Faith, Why I Stopped Pretending to Believe and Maybe You Should Too, by Kate Cohen. It was an opinion piece in the Washington Post that I read, and I am reading it with the author's permission. I like to say that my kids made me an atheist, but really what they did was make me honest. I was raised Jewish with Sabbath prayers and religious school, a bat mitzvah, and a Jewish wedding. But I don't remember ever truly believing that God was out there listening to me sing songs of praise. I thought of God as a human invention, a character, a concept, a carryover from ancient times. I thought of him as fiction. Today I realize that means I'm an atheist. It's not complicated. My non-belief derives naturally from a few basic observations. 1, the Greek myths are obviously stories. The Norse myths are obviously stories. L. Ron Hubbard obviously made that stuff up. Extrapolate. The holy books underpinning some of the bigger theistic religions are riddled with facts, now disproved by science, and morality, now disavowed by modern adherents. Extrapolate. Life is confusing and death is scary. Naturally, humans want to believe that someone capable is in charge and that we continue to live after we die. But wanting doesn't make it so. 4, child rape, war, etc. And yet, when I was younger, I would never have called myself an atheist. Not on a survey, not to my family, not even to myself. Being an atheist, at least according to popular culture, seems to require so much work. You have to complain to the school board about the Pledge of Allegiance. I didn't practice it with people laughing. Stamp over "In God We Trust" on all your paper money and convince grandma not to go to church. You have to be PhD from Oxford smart, irritated by Christmas, and shruggingly unmoved by Michelangelo's Pietà. That isn't me, but those are the stereotypes. And then there are the data. Surveys have shown that many Americans don't trust atheists. They don't want to vote for atheists. They don't want their children to marry atheists. Researchers have found that even atheists presume serial killers are more likely to be atheists than not. Given all this, it's not hard to see why atheists often prefer to keep quiet about it. Why I kept quiet. I wanted to be liked. But when I had children, when it hit me that I was responsible for teaching my children everything, I wanted above all to tell them the truth. Their first atheist lesson was completely impromptu. Noah was 5, Jesse was 3, and we were sitting on the couch before bed reading from Delors' Book of Greek Myths, a holdover from my childhood bookshelf. One of the boys asked what a myth was, and I told them it was a story about how the world works. People used to believe that these gods were in charge of what happened on earth, and these stories help explain things they didn't understand, like winter or stars or thunder. See, I flipped ahead and found a picture. Zeus has a thunderbolt. They don't believe them anymore? No, I said. That's why they call it myth. When people still believe it, they call it religion, like the stories about God and Moses that we read at Passover are the ones about Jesus and Christmas. The little pajama-clad bodies nodded, and on we read. That was it, the big moment. It was probably also the easiest moment, before one son became preoccupied with death, before the other son had to decide whether to be bar mitzvahed, before my daughter looked up from her math homework one day and to ask, how do we know there's no God? Religion offers ready-made answers to our most difficult questions. It gives people ways to mark time, celebrate, and mourn. Once I vowed not to teach my children anything I did not personally believe, I had to come up with new answers. But I discovered, as I went, what most parents discover. You can figure it out as you go. Establishing a habit of honesty did not sap the delight from my children's lives or destroy their moral compass. I suspect it made my family closer than we would have been had my husband and I pretended to our children that we believed in things we did not. We sowed honesty and reaped trust, along with intellectual challenge, emotional sustenance, and joy. Those are all personal rewards, but there are political rewards as well. My children know how to distinguish fact from fiction, which is harder for children raised religious. They don't assume conventional wisdom is true, and they do expect arguments to be based on evidence, which means they have the skills to be engaged, informed, and savvy citizens. We need citizens like that. Lies, lying, and disinformation suffuse mainstream politics as never before. A recent Washington Post ABC News poll found that 29% of Americans believe that Biden was not legitimately elected, a total composed of those who think there is solid evidence of fraud, 22%, and those who think there isn't, 7%. I don't know which is worse. Believing there to be evidence of fraud when even the Trump campaign can't find any, or asserting the election was stolen even though you know there's no proof. Meanwhile, we are just beginning to grasp that artificial intelligence could develop an almost limitless power to deceive, threatening the ability of even the most alert citizens to discern what's real. We need Americans who demand, as atheists do, that truth claims be tethered to fact. We need Americans who understand, as atheists do, that the future of the world is in our hands. And in this particular political moment, we need Americans to stand up to Christian nationalists who are using their growing political and judicial power to take away our rights. Atheists can do that. Fortunately, there are a lot of atheists in the United States, probably far more than you think. Some people say they believe in God, but not the kind favored by monotheistic religions, a conscious supreme being with powers of intercession or creation. When they say God, they mean cosmic oneness or astonishing coincidences. They mean that sense of smallness within largeness they felt while standing on the shore of the ocean, or holding a newborn baby, or hearing the final measures of Chopin's Fantasy Impromptu. So why do those people use the word God at all? The philosopher Daniel C. Dennett argues in Breaking the Spell that since we know we're supposed to believe in God, when we don't believe in a supernatural being, we give the name instead to the things we do believe in, such as transcendent moments of human connection. Whatever the case, in 2022, Gallup found that 81% of Americans believe in God, the lowest percentage yet recorded. This year, when it gave respondents the option of saying they're not sure, it found that only 74% believe in God, 14% weren't sure, and 12% did not believe. Not believing in God. That's the very definition of atheism. But when people go around counting atheists, the number they come up with is far lower than that. The most recent number from Pew Research Center is 4%. What's with the gap? That's anti-atheist stigma and pro-belief bias at work. Everybody's keeping quiet because everybody wants to be liked. Some researchers, recognizing this problem, developed a workaround. In 2017, psychologists Will Gervais and Maxine Nodgel tried to estimate the prevalence of atheism in the United States using a technique called unmatched count. They asked two groups of 1,000 respondents each how many statements were true among a list of statements. The lists were identical, except that one of them included the statement, "I believe in God." By comparing the numbers, the researchers could then estimate the percentage of atheists without ever asking a direct question. They came up with around 26%. If that's true, or even close, there are more atheists in the United States than Catholics. Do you know what some of those atheists call themselves? Catholics. And Protestants, Jews, Muslims, and Buddhists. General social survey data back this up. Among religious Americans, only 64% are certain about the existence of God. Hidden atheists can be found not just among the nuns, N-O-N-E-S, as they're called, the religiously unaffiliated, but also in America's churches, mosques, and synagogues. If you added up all the nominal Christians, Jews, Muslims, Hindus, Buddhists, etc., those who are religious in name only, Harvard humanist chaplain Greg M. Epstein writes in Good Without God, you really might get the largest denomination in the world. Atheists are everywhere, and we are unusually disposed to getting stuff done. I used to say, when people ask me what atheists do believe, that it was simple. Atheists believe that God is a human invention. But now, I think it's more than that. If you are an atheist, if you do not believe in a supreme being, you can be moral or not, mindful or not, clever or not, hopeful or not. Clearly, you can keep coming to church, but by definition, you cannot believe that God is in charge. You must give up the notion of God's will, God's purpose, God's mysterious ways. In some ways, this makes life easier. You don't have to work out why God might cause or ignore suffering, what parts of this broken world are God's plan, or what work is His to do and what is yours. But you also don't get to leave things up to God. Atheists must accept that people are allowing, we are allowing, women to die in childbirth, children to go hungry, men to buy guns that can slaughter dozens of people in minutes. Atheists believe that people organize the world as it is now, and only people can make it better. No wonder we are the most politically active group in American politics today, according to political scientist Ryan Burja, interpreting data from the Cooperative Election Study. That's right, atheists take more political action, donating to campaigns, protesting, attending meetings, working for politicians, than any other religious group. And we vote. In his study on this data, sociologist Evan Stewart noted that atheists were about 30% more likely to vote than religiously affiliated respondents. We also vote far more than most religiously unaffiliated people. That's what distinguishes atheists from the nuns, and what I didn't realize at first. Atheists haven't just checked out of organized religion. Indeed, we may not have. We haven't just rejected belief in God, though obviously that's the starting point. Where atheism becomes a definite stance rather than a lack of direction, a positive belief and not just a negative one, is in our understanding that without a higher power, we need human power to change the world. I want to be clear. There are clergy members and congregations all across this country working to do good, not waiting for God to answer their prayers or assuming that God meant for the globe to get hotter. You don't have to be an atheist to conduct yourself as if people are responsible for the world they live in. You just have to act like an atheist by taking matters into your own hands. Countless good people of faith do just that. But one thing they can't do as well as atheists is push back against the outsized cultural and political power of religion itself. That power is crushing some of our most vulnerable citizens. And I don't mean my fellow atheists. Atheists, it's true, are subject to discrimination and scapegoating. Somehow we're to blame for moral chaos, mass shootings, and whatever the trans cult is. Yes, we are technically barred from serving as jurors in the state of Maryland or joining a Boy Scout troop anywhere, but we do not, as a group, suffer anything like the prejudice that, say, LGBTQ plus people face. It's not even close. Peel back the layers of discrimination against LGBTQ plus people, though, and you find religion. Peel back the layers of control over women's bodies, from dress codes that punish girls for male desire, all the way to the Supreme Court striking down Roe v. Wade, and you find religion. Often there isn't much peeling to do. According to the bill itself, Missouri's total abortion ban was created in recognition that Almighty God is the author of life. Say what now? Peel back the layers of abstinence-only or marriage-centered or anti-homosexual sex education, and you find religion. Don't say gay laws, laws denying trans kids medical care, school library book bans, and even efforts to suppress the teaching of inconvenient historical facts, motivated by religion. And when religion loses a fight and progress wins instead, religion then claims it's not subject to the resulting laws. Religious belief is, more and more at the state and federal levels, a way to sidestep advances the country makes in civil rights, human rights, and public health. In 45 states and D.C., parents can get religious exemptions from laws that require school children to be vaccinated. 7 states allow pharmacists to refuse to fill contraceptive prescriptions because of their religious beliefs. Every business with a federal contract has to comply with federal non-discrimination rules, unless it's a religious organization. Every employer that provides health insurance has to comply with the Affordable Care Act's contraceptive mandate, unless it's, say, a craft supply store with Christian owners. Case by case, law by law, our country's commitment to the first right enumerated in our Bill of Rights, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, is faltering. The Supreme Court has ruled that the citizens of Maine have to pay for parochial school, that a high school football coach should be free to lead a prayer on the 50-yard line, that a potential wedding website designer can reject potential same-sex clients. Oklahoma approved the nation's first publicly funded religious school. This fall, Texas began allowing schools to employ clergy members in place of guidance counselors. You don't have to be an atheist to worry about the structural integrity of Thomas Jefferson's wall of separation between church and state. You don't have to be an atheist to think that religion should not shape public policy or that believers should have to follow the laws that everyone else does. You don't have to be an atheist to see that Christian nationalists are using religious liberty to perpetuate much of the discrimination Americans suffer today. But atheists can do one thing about the country's drift into theocracy that our religious neighbors won't. We can tell people we don't believe in God. The more people who do that, the more we normalize atheism in America, the easier it will be for both politicians and the general public to usher religion back out of our laws. Okay, but should you say you're an atheist even if you believe in God as the power of nature or something like that? Yes, it does no one any favors, not the country, not your neighbors, to say you believe in God metaphorically when there are plenty of people out there who literally believe that God is looking down from heaven, deciding which of us to cast into hell. In fact, when certain believers wield enough political power to turn their God's presumed preferences into law, I would say it's dangerous to claim you believe in God when what you actually believe in is awe or wonder. Your God is love only lends validity and power to their God hates gays. So ask yourself, do I think a supernatural being is in charge of the universe? If you answer no, you're an atheist. That's it. You're done. But if you go further, you'll be doing something good for your country. When I started raising my kids as atheists, I wasn't particularly honest with the rest of the world. I wasn't everybody's mom, right? Plus, I had to get along with other people. Young parents need community, and I was afraid to risk alienating new parent friends by being honest about being, looks both ways, lowers voice, an atheist. But in addition to making me honest inside our home, my children pushed me to start being honest on the outside. In part, I wanted to set an example for them, and in part, I wanted to help change the world they would face. It shouldn't be hard to say you don't believe in God. It shouldn't be shocking or shameful. I know that I'm moral and respectful and friendly. And the more I say to people that I'm an atheist, me, the mom who taught the kindergarten class about baking with yeast and brought the killer cupcakes to the bake sale, the more people will stop assuming that being an atheist means being a serial killer. And then, the more I say I'm an atheist, the more other people will feel comfortable calling themselves atheists, and the stigma will gradually dissolve. Can you imagine if we all knew how many of us there are? It would give everyone permission to be honest with their kids and their friends, to grapple with big questions without having to hold on to beliefs they never embraced. And it would take away permissions too. Permission to pass laws or grant exemptions to laws based on the presumed desires of a fictional creation. Permission to be cruel to fellow human beings based on Bible verses. Political action in favor of thoughts and prayers. I understand that to many people this might sound difficult or risky. It took me years to declare myself an atheist, and I was raised Reformed Jew. I live in the Northeast, I'm white, I work at home, and my family and friends are a liberal bunch. The stakes were low for me. For some, I fully concede the stakes are too high. If you think you'd lose your job or put your children at risk of harassment for declaring your atheism, you get a pass. If you would be risking physical harm, don't speak out. If you're an atheist running for school board somewhere that book bans are on the agenda, then feel free to keep quiet and God bless. But for everyone else who doesn't believe in God and hasn't said so, consider that your honesty will allow others to be honest and that your reticence encourages others to keep quiet. Consider that the longer everyone keeps quiet, the longer religion has political and cultural license to hurt people. Consider that the United States, to survive as a secular democracy, needs you now more than ever. And the next time you find yourself tempted to pretend that you believe in God, tell the truth instead. And now please stand for our closing hymn, number 300, With Heart and Mind.
So
May this flame that has brightened our time together warm our hearts, light our paths, and inspire our vision as we once again go our separate ways.
Our benediction words are by Scott Cooper. I lost it. I can't see the screen. The world aches for us to join together and bring about healing, toil for justice, and produce ever-increasing love. This is our calling. Go forth and act accordingly. Amen.
Amen.